Hey, Stoney here with another game of Mechabellum, and joining me we have Clint Neatwood, and this is the Mini Tournament America. At the bottom here we have the weekend champion Doxun. He's playing as a supply specialist, and he's up against Odyssey playing as a rhino specialist. Right off the bat, we have sledgehammers crawlers versus arclight crawlers and phoenixes. Now, I wonder what sort of anti-air is Odyssey going to pick? Now, what do you think, Clint? Is it going to be marksman? It's going to be marksman. Um,
Yeah, I think there's merit to both marksman and fangs here. Right, fangs you can delay behind the tower,
mhm,
and they have the added benefit of also being like delayed chaff later in the game. But typically, when I'm playing this sort of setup, I also like marksman. When I'm going into Arclight Phoenix, the main reason, right, is that sledges aren't the most efficient at killing Arclights on round one, but marksman two shot them. If I'm remembering correctly. So
mhm.
yeah, I think this is like a pretty standard board for round one. Both players go crawlers because it's the best Jaff in the game at the moment, and yeah, if I had to give you a guess about who's going to win this first round, I think it goes to the Phoenix player. I think there's just a little too much DPS, but maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, it depends on how long the tanks stay alive, right?
Yeah. My favorite card is in this pack,
Mm-hmm,
and that's
mm-hmm.
ER Sledge. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, but I
Come
love the
on,
card.
Odyssey, click the
Click
button.
it. Click it.
Click the
We want you to
button.
click it.
Click it. Click it. Forget about Rhino Assault, which might actually do more damage. Just click.
Oh,
Yeah.
just click it.
Yeah. And two more sledges. This is gonna be a excellent sledge line here.
Oh man, I've been playing around with sledgehammers so much recently. I think they are so good at the moment. Sledgehammer carry is so back. But we see Doxun click range on arc lights. Do you think that's early? Round two?
Um is okay, I think, for this round. Um he probably saw the extended range sledgehammer and he was under the impression that that's exactly what's going to happen. Um
Interesting.
Whose missile is this? This is Doxon's missile. Yeah, it's gonna get this sledgehammer. It's gonna get a couple crawlers, and he might actually get this. We'll see. I mean, yeah, probably not get this round, but he is setting up for it. So when you take extended range sledgehammer, one thing you just got to be very careful about is that before you take that card, your sledgehammer is your primary meat shield. With that
Mhm.
card, that's a 30% reduction in its HP. It's no longer a meat shield. You really have to babysit it.
Yeah.
Which means you need to start putting fans. You might even start putting other units in front of it.
Yeah.
If you use them as a meat shield, they won't get level. If they won't get level, you're not getting the most out of your sledgehammers.
Yeah. Without levels, they are not very good, to put it lightly. And I mean, this is like a strong read from Doxon.
It is. And because of the 30% reduction, now Arclights can actually contest the sledgehammers at the same level. So a very
Yeah.
good read for Doxon.
And in this case, right, the Arclights get the levels, and our Sledgehammer hero over here doesn't.
That's right.
So not an inspiring or good thing to see round three, I would say.
Hmm.
But we get our first unit pack here. What's sticking out to you, Stoney?
Wasp is always good. Wasp can really shake the board up a little bit, considering now both sides don't have a lot of anti-air. So it looks like there's going to be Wasp coming from Odyssey, and it's going to be a level 3 Rhino coming from Doxon. I wonder if it's going to sell this Rhino or just kind of keep it around. There is a lot of damage. Also, these two marksmen are leveled. So I don't know if this Rhino is going to do too much.
Yeah, I think there's like some merit, right, in like setting up an early flank with this and just trying to eke out one round and then selling it the next round. You could also like put it. like heavily positioned on one right or left corner here to walk into the tower. But yeah, it looks like what Doxon's idea here is to use this level 3 Rhino as a delayed tank, which is I think just fine as well.
Hmm.
Um, I think in the long term, though, what we will see is that that Rhino does get sold. Maybe not this round, but certainly the next one or the round after that.
Hmm. Now, I am a little upset that they didn't take range on the sledgehammers. Right now, these sledgehammers are at the risk of being outscaled by the arclights. These three arclights on the left here, they're gonna live for a very long time.
Oh yeah.
Um, and they hit hard too, especially against sledgehammers with 30% less health. Right now, sledgehammers are 27.99. Arclight at level 2, that's 780. So that's 4 shots. That's 4 seconds of damage coming from the arclight.
Yeah. And the other big thing here, right, is that the splash from the arc lights matters a lot more on the sledgies than the splash from the sledgies onto the arc lights.
Mhm.
So it can swing pretty heavily into the arc lights' favor, but those wasps really come in and kind of clutch things up here. It looks like, but we have a level 3 Rhino to deal with. Oh gosh.
You're right, Clint. And this rhino is getting a lot of value at this round. Missile device from Doxun again, just in case, right? If you need a shield break.
Yeah, I think the other reality is that we know Rhino spec is coming down here, and while a level 2 Rhino isn't nearly as scary as a level 3 Rhino, um, a missile device here in this case for Doxun is going to do 10,000 damage. That's a fourth of the Rhino's health pool, but it doesn't matter because it is now sold.
We got a fortress coming down to deal specifically with this level 3
Ooh.
rhino with steel ball production. Still no tech coming from the tanks just yet. We got 200 left over, which is not enough for any meaningful carrying techs, but I really would love to see one of these two show up. I would prefer range, simply just allow the tanks to go live a little bit longer away from these arclights.
Hmm.
But right now, these tanks really need the experience. It's getting outscaled pretty hard. We already have
Yeah.
4 level 2 arclights on the board.
Yeah, and some of these arc lights are almost halfway to level 3, and at that point, right, you just kind of have to abandon the sledge dream.
Hmm.
But let's see how this shakes down. I think Fortress is pretty well positioned into this board state. How do you feel about it?
I think the fortress there is an answer to the rhino. The additional marksman is nice, except you're up against ranged arclights, so this one right in the middle gets taken out immediately. The Mustangs is a nice touch. A lot of times people think of Mustangs as chaff clear, but in reality, they can be both chaff clear and chaff themselves. And as you can see here
True.
right now, they're actually tanking a lot of these tank shots and also marksman shots. But it looks like
Yeah.
the side with the steel ball production is a little too strong.
Yeah, I feel like these production techs are like maybe a little too pushed. I just think the longer the round goes, right, and they used to not be as good as they are now, and that's mainly because since the release free for all, we've now seen a cap on unit production tech, so crawler production, fangs spawning, and then all the war factory techs, right? Those only produce so many units over a certain amount of time.
Mhm.
That steel ball production, as long as the round's going, we're making steel balls, baby. And
Mhm.
yeah, it can scale out of control, especially as more units leave the board. Things can yeah, get a little brutal for sure. Um, so another unit pack comes. We see the level 3 Wraith from Doxon here and Elite Marksman on Arclights. Cool. And then it looks like a level 3 Typhoon from Odyssey. Okay. How do you feel about those pickups?
I think I get the Wraith coming here.
Hmm.
I'm not entirely sure about the Typhoons. I guess there is a bit of a chat problem. I was fully expecting them to sell the Typhoons and just take Mech Rage instead. Right now, again, well, hold on. I'm looking at Odyssey side. He's only got 100 supply. I think Mech Rage would generally help the board a little bit better than Typhoons. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, Typhoon level 3 Typhoon is a very good unit. They're extremely tanky, 34,000
Hmm.
health. But I think at this point, with 4 squads of sledgehammers, 2 of them going level 2 and not having any tech and simply just getting shelled on, it's a bit of a waste.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I think the Wraith is super heads up as well, only because I'm pretty sure Doxun had a read on Odyssey that he wanted to click AA, and Doxun has 4 sets of Phoenixes, and that's a lot of damage to lose on the board to a couple volleys of AA. So this, this Wraith is basically just a tank to hold the fort down, so to speak.
Mhm.
But the left side looks like it clears pretty well. The tower does go down, but we might get a really good tower timing right back here. This
Oh, here's the
Typhoon's going to be a
AA.
problem.
Yeah, and here's the AA left.
Yeah. I was going to say, I feel like in general, Typhoons are pretty well positioned into Arclights, only because of the barrier tech. I think if you can delay damage on those Arclights, um, it becomes very hard for the Arclights to do like their job, which is, if they're sitting back collecting levels, to do a lot of damage. But laser sights being picked up for Odyssey
Mhm.
and laser sights being picked up for Doxun, yeah, I mean, pretty standard stuff, right? Can't really skip that item, especially in these kind of like standard v standard board states. When you're kind of playing behind your tower or around your tower, you
Mhm.
definitely need um, you need the range. Range is king in this game. Um, if you're Odyssey, where are you putting that laser sight?
I mean, right now with the Typhoon play, that's a no-brainer.
Yep. Yep.
But I am still firmly believe that the Typhoon could be sold in favor of just more tanks, more levels, and get techs on them. These
Mhm.
tanks, with range, with mech rage, they're going to be your backline. Your fortresses, they're going to walk up, they're going to tank everything, and your tanks are just going to kill everything in the backline. I've seen it. You played it a couple days ago, Clint. It's a
Yeah.
very powerful setup. And I just don't understand what's the hesitation with the sledgehammers.
Yeah, I can't help but wonder if Odyssey feels like he's already been outscaled and he doesn't want to, I don't know, commit too hard to an idea, even though it's, a very fun one.
No,
Um,
I think it's the correct idea because he's only being outscaled because the tanks kept dying before the arc lights.
sure.
With fortresses in play and with range, your tanks will be the last thing that die, which means they're
That's
soaking
true.
all the experience. So you can get that skill back very quickly. It's just right now with no tech and no range, the tanks are still being killed off by Arclight, which is a bad. It's just a bad thing. Like this is not how you're supposed to play extended range sledgehammers.
Yeah, but I mean, this is looking so good for Odyssey, and this is kind of the problem that Arclights start to run into if you're playing with the carry tech is
Hmm.
look how long it takes for these Arclights on the right side, even backed up by Stormcallers, right,
Hmm.
to kill or even hurt this fortress, this blue fort over here. It just 8 shots for half the round and
Yep.
was at half HP.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
and this is sort of one of those things that we are that you would feel sometimes even playing with power shot before it's pre-nerf, but I would say you feel it even more so now. Like Doxson does not run power shot, he runs elite marksman and range, so this is essentially the highest scaling that we can get on these arc lights
Hmm.
outside of levels, right? But yeah.
Power Shot got nerfed pretty hard though, right? Like the additional 30% reduction in firing rate. that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
In the past, it was just a pure 3x damage, but now it's 3x at the cost of speed reduction. So you're really getting about what, 1x damage or like
If I
1.5?
remember correctly, it was the original tech was 2x damage, but
2x, yeah.
the nerf version is 3x with a firing rate reduction. And I think the math breaks out to the DPS still being roughly the same. But what this really translates to is that shielded fangs are a lot stronger against it, right?
Mhm.
Chaff is a lot stronger against it, and if a fort ever gets on an arclight, it usually is dead.
Mhm.
Um, and it's not the other way around, right? The ARCLIGHT needs time to work, but we
Mhm.
see EMP coming out for the ARCLIGHTs. So this could change some dynamics here, right? We have field maintenance on our wraiths as well, which if the ARCLIGHTs do manage to get to tag the fortress, we're going to be dealing with no real effective AA, and it looks like on the right, yeah, and in the middle, these arc lights are tagging these fortresses. So these phoenixes are getting a lot of work done, but the right is still crumbling. Oh no, this looks really
Yeah.
bad for Doxun.
Yeah, the fortresses are very strong. I mean, it takes 2 shots to kill an arclight, and there's really nothing left. So this actually might be game here. Yeah,
Yeah,
this
that
is
is
game
game.
here. So very good for Odyssey. I think even though he wasn't able to get the ER sledgehammers, which makes me a little sad, but I think overall with the blue fortresses, they were able to tank the arclights, which don't have power shots and wasn't able to scale as hard as they should.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, very heads up plays from Odyssey. I think he navigated that really well. Um, The idea being, right, once a person kind of techs early into arc lights, you can kind of push fortresses into them. And once those fortresses start to hit like level 2, level 3, it becomes really, really hard to kill them.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, it was an excellent game. I hope you enjoyed this game. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. And I will see you on the next one.
Prepare your tactics. Mechabellum's calling. Deploy your fortress. The battlefield's alive with swarms.